Hi y'all, welcome to my shop. Today we're going to turn a natural edge winged bowl out of a fresh green piece of walnut. It's got a little bit of a crotch in it, so I think it's going to look real nice. So let's get started. Okay, I've got this nice piece of fresh green walnut that I'm going to make a winged natural edge bowl. The size of this is approximately just under 11 inches here and more than 16 inches here, so I'm going to decide what to do with it. I've got these templates, and I could put one of these there, I could put this one there, I could put this one there, and kind of visualize how I want. 6 I think is too small, 8 I think is too large, but I think 7 inches is about right, and I think I want to try to get some of this hardwood all the way around it. I got some nice crotch feather here. So I look at that, and since this is about 10.5 inches here, I wanted to go a little further here. So maybe 12.5. I want it just a little bit longer in this direction. So I'm going to take this on the bandsaw, and I'm going to cut this right here, and then I'm going to go ahead and mark the center here. I'm going to have this off center a little bit, and I think I'm going to put it right, maybe right there, and then I'm going to mark that center. So that's what I'm going to work with. So I'm going to go with the bandsaw and cut this off, and then we're going to put it on the lathe and start shaping it. So we're going to take the piece I've taken over the bandsaw where we marked that 7-inch circle, and we're going to use a 2-pronged spur, and we're going to make sure those prongs are in line with the grain so they'll bite. And notice I have this over the foot, not in the middle when I start pounding. I want maximum reinforcement under this cast iron. I don't want to put any strain in, it might accidentally cause a break. Alright, so now we're going to take this piece over here. Alright, so we're going to mount this, and we're going to try to get this somewhat centered up. Let's see if I can get a little better camera angle after I get this in place. Alright, so now I'm squaring it up, which means I need to rotate it back just a bit. Mark this down. I look down this, and it looks like it's coming around pretty good, straight. Now I'll go ahead and tighten this up. Make sure my particular lathe, I have a high speed and a low speed belt setting. I have it on the low. Well, I've got it on the high speed, so that's one good reason I checked. I don't put it on the low speed setting, which gives me a speed of about 50 to 1500, which is where I want to be for maximum torque. The other setting goes from 125 to 3200, but you lose some torque. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to do is decide about how far I'm going to go on this edge, and that'll be clearer later. But I'm looking at probably maybe coming up to about an inch here, leaving about an inch all the way around, and then we'll adjust from there. Now, this is going to be off balance, so we're going to go take it kind of slow, take care of some of this bark, stand out of the way when we turn the lathe on, build up the speed slowly, rocking it just under 500. I think that's where we're going to stop for the time being. And just take care of some of the bark. Okay, I'm using a 1/2 inch British measurement or 5/8 inch US bowl gouge with swept back wing. I've readjusted my tool rest to get it just a little bit closer for support, and I'm just going to do some pull cuts to flatten this back out a little bit. Here I get rid of the bark at the where we're going to put Tenant on the bottom. And then start the bowl shape. Pull it on out. A lot of air, so I got to take it easy. Slow cut. Now you notice with my pull cuts, I'm leaving this almost parallel, so the tool rest is taking the brunt of the work. If I dropped it like I might ordinarily do, it's going to keep pounding. So this is some pretty color on this walnut. This is going to look real nice. I'm going to keep shaping that bowl down a little bit until this part here, I've got maybe an inch from the top. Okay, now you got a better view. So what I'm looking to do is bring this wing up to about here, and that'll give me room to do some adjustment, and I'll show you what we're doing when we get to the other side. So I'm just going to continue taking some of this back. We're getting close to that inch. A little bit more. Take off just a little bit more to lighten this to reduce the imbalance. I think I can go ahead and speed it up just a little bit. Now we're going to mark the tenon on here. Now here's the bevel. We got to come in straight in with that bevel. And I'm going to take a detailed spindle gouge. First, let's adjust tool rest. Keep it snugged up as close as possible. Clears it. Okay. I've got a little bit of bark here, which won't take a hold. Sapwood, which is not going to hold as well as the heartwood, so I need to go a little bit deeper and make this tenon maybe a little deeper than I might ordinarily. And tell my hold is loosening up a little bit on the back, so I need to snug up a little bit. It's a little smaller bowl gouge, 1/2 inch. Make sure I got a 90-degree parallel tenon. It's very clean without any scraps in there. Now that I got the tenon, I can go back and refine that bowl just a bit. I got to get rid of this bark, round it over a little bit more. It's going to be a really pretty piece. Okay, I'm going to come back to this back side. I'm going to check this an extra time, so I'm going to go ahead and reverse this, and we're going to work on the front shape a little bit, and then we're going to come back to refine the back shape. So, take this off. So, knock this little piece of extra bark off. Any good. Should have done that earlier. Okay. I'm using my Supernova 2, about a 5.5 pound chuck, 4-inch chuck. Probably should have used a bigger chuck, but I didn't want too big a tenon on here. This is probably pushing the limits of this particular set of jaws, these 50mm jaws. So I'm going to orient these jaws, the slot between the jaws, straight up and down with the grain up and down. Actually, let's do it this way so I can make it easier to turn. Go ahead and bring up tailstock support for safety. Now, I'm going to go ahead and measure that 7 inches. Let's see, we're going to go 1, 2, 3.5. So we're looking at right about here. Just want to get a pretty good idea where that bowl is going to be. That's going to be the outside diameter of the bowl, or the outside of the rim. So I'm going to come in here, and cut into it, and leave this rim proud of the bowl surface. So I'm going to use this 1/2 inch swept back gouge, and I'll go ahead and get this as close as it'll clear. And I want this kind of trued up 90 degrees to give me a pretty good idea whether I've got this wing flat or not, because I want a flat wing. Oops, that didn't work. I should have spun it around to make sure I had clearance with the banjo. This piece right here. Always test your clearance. Okay. So now I'm going to come in on that and come straight in and pull back slowly out here to the wing. I don't want to tear up that bark. Open up the flute slightly, maybe somewhere between 9 and 10. Pull that again. I've got a rough idea. I've got to get it a little closer. And I think I can speed it up just a little bit. Vibrating a little, vibrating a lot, slow it down. Okay, doesn't look like I can go much past 500. So the goal here is I'm going to have this rim sticking up approximately 1/4 of an inch, and then I'm going to make it 1/4 of an inch wide here. I say 1/4 of an inch, just about where it is now. And it's right at 1/4 of an inch, and I think that'll be a good thickness for this. So I can. Now I'm just going to flatten this surface and work real hard on getting it flat. And I think for that I'm going to switch back to the bigger bowl gouge, turn the speed up just a little bit, see if I can't get this a little bit closer, and again line this tool rest up 90 degrees. Now it's not a bad idea when you're doing a wing bowl, just for a measure of safety, is put a little piece of tape out on the furthest end here on your tool rest, and that gives you some feel for where you need not to be. Don't go past here. This is the challenge of getting these humps out of this. So I think what I'm going to do is use a pencil to better mark where this is. Actually, rather than pencil, you know what would work good? That's a piece of chalk. So let's just mark chalk along that edge. It's just a bit proud. Maybe it's not a lot, maybe a 1/16 of an inch. But I need to eliminate it. Okay, so that gives me an aim point. That's the area I need to flatten out just a bit.